So, welcome to the second installment in the Boxer Institute series for 2016 summer. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about research methods and evidence analysis. So, first question of any kind of good lecture, right? Why do we care? Why do we care about evidence analysis? Why do we care about research methods? We're not researchers, right? Well, let's start with the parts of the argument. Now, there are three big parts kind of to the argument. Nick introduced a similar model in the last module. The way that I like to think about it is that it's claim, warrant, and impact. And I'm sure you've heard this or some variant of it before. To illustrate, maybe the claim is that citizens of the United States want nuclear disarmament. We want to get rid of all the nukes. Now, the warrant for that is this Gallup poll that I bring forward. I say 71% of US citizens want to disarm. And the impact of that then is that, disarming leads to respect for the citizens and the democratic process, but only because of that warrant, right? That warrant is what tells us, this is really what citizens want. It's the why, it's the backbone of the argument. Now, if I don't have the warrant, this whole contention doesn't make sense, right? Citizens of the US want nuclear disarmament. Well, prove it, right? So really, evidence should and is some of the most important parts of debate. At least in my mind. So, talking then about how research is conducted, how does this evidence get generated? How do we really kind of, make these statistics and make these studies, make all of these findings fact? How do we do this fact finding? So, there's three really big sorts of studies that you'll see at least in social science research, and that's really what I see the most of in debate. It's what I was trained in as well, so that's what we're going to be doing. So there's three big formats. There's case studies, there's experiments, and there's correlational studies. Now, case studies are usually they're going to be pretty rare in debate. They're usually an in-depth documentation of one case, and they're usually not very generalizable. And when I say generalizable, what I mean is that you can't take a sample, so say one first grade classroom in an elementary school, you can't sample that first grade classroom and generalize it to the rest because it's usually only one or two people, right? And think about it very, very logically. If I've got a group of 30 kids and I only ask one kid what their favorite flavor of ice cream is, maybe he tells me it's chocolate. Now, if, maybe the other 29 kids in that classroom like strawberry. So if I ask two kids then, one of those kids is going to say strawberry. The other one's saying chocolate still. So then I've got a little bit closer to the truth of what the whole population is if I get a good sample. The problem is with case studies is you're usually only looking at one person within a large population or even a sample. Or maybe there's only a few cases. It's really helpful when there's only a few cases to study if there's like a rare disease. Another good one is if there's one big event in history, there's a lot of case studies around like the Holocaust, right? Because that's, not going to be something that we're dealing with again, with all hope, or any time in the future. And if we do, it'll look significantly different. So there's not really a good way to capture that in a correlational or experimental study.